Hey guys, so this time I got a new jig. It's a sign maker jig that I picked up at Rockler, and I actually got it on a Black Friday sale, so I got it for pretty cheap. And I tried once before actually using a sign jig, and I had this mess of a product. And I'm not going to talk too much about it because just thinking about it gets me angry again, and how well that did not turn out. So I'm sure there's some of you out here who have this one, like it. Good for you. I had a horrible time with it. So I'm going to give this one a shot and do a kind of a review of how well it goes, and hopefully this one goes a lot better. Okay, so here is the deluxe kit from Rockler that I got, and it has all the with the deluxe kit you actually get all the letters as well as all the numbers and symbols, and you know it's about as straightforward as from what I can tell is what it looks. You just simply sort of snap them all together and lay them out. One thing it does include, it includes this plastic bushing. It's like a guide for the router when it actually gets on there, and you put your router and it just kind of follows it. Problem is that I actually used a plastic bushing guide thing once before, and the bit got so hot that it actually started to melt the plastic, and I don't know if maybe I wasn't using it right, or maybe it just got overused. But what I decided to do, instead of using the guide that came with it, I decided to go ahead and buy a brass one, and I got this from Rockler as well. And it's the same size, and it's supposed to be universal. And I have tested it with my router just to make sure that it worked, and it does. It sits right in there, and then once you get your letters down, you just sort of follow the template, and hopefully it works pretty well. I know on the other letter kit that I had, the whole thing on that was a nightmare. The whole setup, the pieces working, just kind of getting everything to work didn't work so well. But so I really have high hopes that this one's going to be great, and that we'll be able to just lay it down and see how it works. All right, well, to start, I wanted to go ahead and make sure I get my guide on my router, and it actually sits in there just perfect. I think there are base plates you can buy that will fit on most routers to make it more universal. This one works pretty well. It's recessed in, and it just kind of sits in there nice and snug. And I'll just tighten this up a little bit. So there we have that. Well, I've gone ahead and I've got my letters laid out. And what I decided I would do is actually just make a sign for my website. And went in and tried to pull out as many of the letters as I could. Now, some of the letters I'm going to need to use over and over again, like the letter O. And the kit does come with a couple of O's, which is great. But I can't lay out the entire pattern in one piece. So I'm going to have to actually pull up or route part of the sign, take up some of my letters, and then lay them back down. So after you get all the letters laid down, then really the next step is to just use some painter's tape to just hold it in place, so that when you route it, things aren't moving around on you. I just need to grab my router and go at it. So when it came to just routing the sign, really I think the secret here is to just sort of take your time and make sure that you're really looking at each letter as close as you can. The last thing you want to do is sort of push down on a plunge router and maybe not go all the way and ruin one of your templates, or possibly even your bit if you're not down far enough. So after I finished rounding out the letters on my sign, I decided that I wanted to round over all the edges, and there's a lot of options you can do on how you want that to look, and I chose just a simple round over for mine. So after getting everything done, I did just a pretty standard sanding across the front of the sign as well as the back. And I only did 2 grits of paper on this one. I almost always do 3 if it's an heirloom project. This one, yeah, I maybe I took a short step there, but I think you can get away with that. Almost done. Still gotta paint it, but I'm also gonna go ahead and drill some holes in the back so that they can hang. And I have a have this little template that I bought from Rockler. You really don't need this, but I kind of got maybe suckered into it. It just looked like a good idea, and it does work pretty well. It's nice that you can just kind of line it up, and I guess you don't have to mess with attaching a board to use as a guide. And it's quick too. And it comes with two different slots, so that if you have two that are right by and or a long one in the middle, and here we go. All I have left doing now is just give it like a shellac or maybe a lacquer, and then paint it. So I'm just about done with my sign. I've got everything carved out, and last but not least, I just need to paint it. So for my sign, I'm actually going to paint on the inside. I'm just going to paint it black, and I actually decided to do a coat of lacquer before I painted it, which I had always kind of thought you just don't do that. And I found a website that actually recommended that you apply a coat of lacquer, a single coat, a light coat, and then you go back and you paint right on top of that. You let it sit, and then you apply another coat of lacquer on top of that. So I've tried that once before on another thing, and it actually worked. I mean, everything looked fine. It wasn't a sign that I was doing, but it held together. For this one, I honestly, I don't think I'm going to put another layer of lacquer on top of it, because it's going to stay on the inside. I'm not going to have it be outdoors. So I think it'll be pretty well protected. Alright guys, well, I got my sign finished, and turned out pretty good. And I really can't say enough about the Rockler sign maker kit. It really was easy, and compared to the other sign making kit that I've used before in the past, this one really was simple. So I recommend it. And I think my only criticism really is just that the guide bushing that comes with it is a plastic one, and so I would definitely look into buying. There's a brass one that you can buy, and Rockler has it too, and it's pretty cheap. So check it out, see if you like it. And as always, you can check out my site at woodlogger.com for more pictures and other videos.